Welcome to another episode of Out of the Blank. We got the master chef, super chef Turtle. What's up, Neil?
Just chilling, enjoying the morning. How's your day going?
I'm going to toss a brain stumper at you, which is if a genie gives you three wishes and you give one of, if the genie gives you three wishes and you can't use one of your wishes for more wishes, can you give your rest of your wishes to another person to give you more wishes?
No,
What?
because the whole concept of wishing for more wishes would be null and void for anybody.
But if it's not giving yourself more wishes, it's giving someone else more wishes. It's a loophole because I don't think they expect you to really think about maybe benefiting someone else's life. They only think about you're going to be selfish and use them on yourself. That's the whole point of Aladdin. At least that's what I got out of it.
I get that, but when you would transfer it, wouldn't the genie transfer to that person and then those rules still apply, not necessarily just for themselves, but all around? The limit has always been three.
There's always a trick to something. There's always a scam.
Yes, there is always a loophole. And that is a good question on that. I don't know.
I think
I'm curious.
I've possibly contemplated more about things than I've ever had in my entire life. And I don't necessarily think that's a problem. I know people say you can overthink things, but I think
Oh, you can definitely overthink, but there's nothing wrong with certain aspects.
I just think you start to realize where the kind of the BS is, you know what I mean? And you start to realize that it's littered throughout everything. It's so hard nowadays, whether you want to be an entrepreneur. I talked about it before. Entrepreneurs wasn't like before the pandemic, the whole world was like, we're pro entrepreneur. And then all these people took this journey during this pandemic, like, I guess this is a good option to try. And they realized how
Right?
hard it was and they feel like they failed. And then maybe it was a disguise. Maybe it seemed like the world is pro entrepreneurs, but really it's owned by corporations.
Well, the reason you fail is because you don't keep going.
What
You'll
about
just
the
stop.
money, though? What about the money?
What about the money?
Imagine if someone's trying to pursue a hot sauce career or a hot sauce passion, but everything is a patent and another patent and another patent and another patent. Next thing you know, he's about $15,000 in the hole and realizing that he has no more money to spend.
Okay, I get that concept, and I won't
Tr-
say I've been to that extent, but I'm already in that depth of I have thrown everything I've got at it, but if I stop, I'm a failure.
Well,
If I keep going and finding different free routes that I can do it in and keep building that, it can work.
but Amazon freaking just completely took out USPS. Like they're the postal service and they're all like, we're going to get there when we get there. I'm like, I don't think I need that in my packages. I'm just going to go to the guy who's doing the 2-day shipping. And plus he's got some pretty good Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals that I'm looking to check out. And USPS is like, look, Amazon offers you a drone delivering your package. You know what we offer you? We offer you a person who's slightly out of shape walking up to your doorstep wearing very high cut shorts and a shirt.
I get that concept, but also Amazon doesn't deliver letters. Amazon doesn't do that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, that's a scary thing though. Is like it's coming up to Christmas time. So you're gonna have a lot of people that are like, just like, can I get a job working for FedEx and all that? And it's like, you just want the job? Yeah, I'll be done after Christmas is over. It's like, why do you want the job then? And you realize they're probably going to be sorting through your packages.
the seasonal jobs, there's a lot of people that go into it for extra money. So when I was working at the barbecue place during the seasonal stuff, I would go do stone fountain installations because it was only during certain times, or pick up different side jobs at night.
It's so hard for me to trust anything. I mean, that's the most
I
protected
understand that.
packaging as possible. But like when it comes to money, man, people do so much crazy things for money, man. Even so, people do crazy things for a flat
Mhm.
screen TV.
Well, I've been watching a lot of those Black Fridays
They're
deals
great.
on YouTube, the Black Friday brawls.
They're great when you watch grandma
Yeah,
get punched in the larynx for a TV. You're like, oh my God, this is horrible. But Jesus, did she not take a hit like a champ?
I seen it. What was it? One lady walked up and stole some other lady's cart and just walked off. And the lady that stole it was like twice the other lady's age.
It's, I don't
It
know.
was
I mean, it's kind of crazy. Like, I'm surprised they did it earlier than the actual day. I'm actually happy that they did, because I always thought it's so weird how they always make it like a show. Like, they know they could do it any day of that week, but they make it to a specific day because they like to see people get trampled on in stores. They just don't want anybody to die.
I think they should just do sales throughout the whole month. This week we're doing all this stuff on sale. This next week we're doing all this stuff on sale, or this section, and then so you can get all, 4 different sections of your store, but they're on sale of each week.
Well, deals started because a person was sitting in a board meeting, like, how are we going to increase sales? And you're like, what we do is we put a special code, say one price is $3. You say 2 for $6. It's a yellow sticker that says 2 for $6. But if one original price normally is $3, it's the same thing. You're just getting another one. But they're like, don't, it doesn't matter. The sticker really captures their attention and
Mm-hmm.
brings them in thinking they're getting a deal. That's how we'll increase sales. They saw a skyrocket in sales. And now it's like so fast paced where everybody's attention span or everybody's all zoomed up to be like, I got to get this before everyone else does, which means they're going to trample over. Hell, half the time you could take a video of yourself running around a corner or running around on campus or wherever you want to go, running around in public. People just think that you're getting chased. So they run with you. It's that same type style, which I think more people need to
Okay.
live the kind of easy pace life that you kind of do, which is just about like, let things work itself out. Like, I think you're probably more in belief of existence of everything comes together when it's supposed to come together. And I think a lot of people can't even fathom that concept.
Oh yeah. Well, I have so many different angles that I work with what I do with my job, my career, that there's a lot of times I can't control what's going to happen in this section. So I have to stop pushing on it, and it'll just let itself fall into place while I'm working on this other avenue. You have to, if you can't push it any farther, you just have to forget about it for a minute and start working on another route in your life, and that will come into play.
Do you ever question things, like anything you really think deeply upon, like anything you really
Every day.
speculate? What exactly? Give me a scenario.
Is what I'm doing as a career really helping others, really going to change the world, really going to impact people in a positive manner? Or am I wasting my time? Like, I know I'm helping people, but looking from the inside out, it's a lot more different than looking from the outside in.
I think that statement that you just said, probably, even if it's on this podcast episode, is going to resonate with a lot of people. Because even me, I also don't know if this is affecting anybody, even though I've heard good comments on it. I just think we base our decisions and our judgment on the necessity or the looks of things that we see on TV. And I don't think that's how we should be doing it. Whether your channel affects one person or affects 100 people, it's good, fun things to watch. I mean, when I watch your YouTube channel, like, I'm not trying to give you a giant compliment or stroke your ego, but it's like fun, professional type cooking shit for people who want to get stoned and eat awesome food. And I think that's important to have out there. Now, is it necessarily affecting the world? Let's be realistic. Probably not, but it has the grasp to. It's just about when.
Right. I'm just trying to help break that stigma in a sense and show people that if you do your research, you can find a lot of good attributes with this plant and a lot of good healing benefits.
There, there's a
It's
there's major healing benefits to it. I'm not a pot smoker. I don't really do it anymore. Um, but even with the fact of now some of these CBD and like hemp stores are selling psilocybin mushrooms,
Mhm.
especially in Detroit, for instance. I was there talking to people who were trying to get that movement started and watched it kind of unfold. I think slowly it's going to break down the stigma of these types of drugs, but necessarily, I don't think you should be using it to get over the low points in your life. I think you need to be using it in a more beneficial way of finding clarity, such as like DMT. DMT, peyote, and all these crazy psychedelics were taken by Native American people for giant spiritual transformations in life and kind of awakenings, not because they had a shitty day. You can take
Yeah.
pot for a
I,
shitty day, sure, but I think necessarily that opens up the door for you're never going to change the day. You're just going to keep living the same repeat, going back to the same thing to take away your pain. I think you need to take it for more spiritual clearance in a way, like how you kind of do, for instance. If you smoke weed and chill out on a hammock, or if you smoke weed and do a live video and do a cooking video, you're still doing something beneficial to your life And for necessarily, if you open up that door for just because it's there, you should do it. You're now like, there's a lot of people that just want to use the pot to make the pain go away. And I'm like, you can't do that. You got to understand is that the same situation is going to keep repeating. Now, physical pain's different. If you have a back issue, that's pot can take
I
care
get
of that
that.
quick. But emotional kind of issues as well too. You need to focus on if your life is the same shit every single day and you're wondering why you're miserable, you need to get yourself out of the mud. Don't look for something to do that for you. It's supposed to help you. It's not supposed to be the cure.
Yeah, I agree with that for the most part. In the sense that if you have a shitty day, smoking pot doesn't necessarily help. Two parts to that. One, it does help to those that are like overthinkers or high anxiety or depression or something. It'll help slow that down so they can start comprehending everything that's going on, the situations, and maybe make better decisions. So in that turn, it can actually help efficiently because they will be slowing their thought process down to a point of being able to comprehend each scenario that just happened and then maybe learn a lesson from how they acted or reacted in that and not do it again.
Well, it helps the day, yeah, is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the day is going to keep repeating the same style of problems if you don't change the scenario
Yeah.
that
Oh,
you're
yeah.
in. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because I
I
think
fully
pot's
agree with that.
probably one of the it definitely helped me take kind of like I think we talked about before on your first and second episode was that helped me kind of see that sunglasses got pulled from over my eyes where I got to see everything
Yeah.
a little bit more clear and take in certain moments, which I will never unsee. It's kind of like smoking one cigarette. You smoked a cigarette, so you never can unsmoke a cigarette. You can stop smoking, but you know what that taste is like. You know what I mean? I've seen
Exactly.
what being high is. I've noticed the things that I overthink, the things that I think really, really deeply about, contemplating why money
Yeah.
exists. You start to realize that you might necessarily get more clarity out of it, but doesn't mean it needs to be an everyday thing. Like you have to keep doing it to keep that feeling. You just got to understand it's a beneficial tool to help bring an upright to your system, which I'm pro drugs, any drug really, as long as you're not destroying your life or anybody else's. I think everyone probably works differently, brain reacts differently to things. Pot makes me feel like I'm on a psychedelic trip. For a lot of other people, it makes them feel like it's just a cool thing, numbing, makes it feel nice, like the world seems more colorful than it actually is. And I'm pro that as well too. But you got to understand the deeper core thing, which is that I think thoughts, a lot of people use pot to make thoughts go away. I don't think that's what it's there for. I think it's there to help you realize something deeper about yourself, which is like why meditation I also think is important. I
Yep.
never meditate, but I think that the way that it makes your brain react, depending on how you're thinking in that moment, that reaction is always different. And I really fucking find that fascinating.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, for myself, I smoke not continuously, but I smoke every day. If I don't, if I'm running around doing a lot of stuff, I'll take my CBD tincture or something for my pain. So it's not the tetrahydrocannabinol aspect of it for the psychotropic effects, but you're still getting the pain relief. So being able to consume daily for like you were talking pain wise is something that's going to be inevitable for a lot of people. But if they go without just on a regular person who smokes every day and then they don't have any, how do they function? How does it affect them? Are they able to just be normal and be regular and still be happy? Or are they using it as a crutch?
Yeah,
That's
see, that's
a
the weird
pondering question.
that's a weird part. I have someone who I've basically known like my whole entire life talked about how like he just really is upset that he started smoking pot at such a young age and has kept doing it like every day, 3 times a day, over and over and over again. And I asked why, and it was like because it seemed like it kind of distracted from the main point of like the pursuit of life. And I was like, what do you mean the
Okay.
pursuit of life? Like, did you use it in a bad way? He goes, no, it was more about just fucking around and having fun rather than pursuing like a career like a lot of people do. And I go, well, I just think that means you have a different option or avenue for career. See, people base their depression or base their value in what they see as what would be considered professional. What the fuck is professional? You're technically a professional infusion
All right.
chef. That's not a doctor degree, but I guarantee
No,
you, you'll get more attention than any of those fucking doctors will.
I love what I do, but at this point, it's just a brand new industry. So there's no way to get those degrees or anything in it yet.
It's
So
the idea of what professionalism is back 10 years ago compared to what professionalism is now. It's two different standards. And I think people need to start realizing that they have more vital options of pathways in life to go to. You know, you were told that you had freedom as a kid. You were told that you could be whatever you wanted to be. But why was society limited to something that gave you a lot of money to be able to survive? Shouldn't it just be do what makes you happy? Whether it's a good steady $50,000 a year or whether it's $80 an hour, I don't know. If you only work 2 hours out of the year, then what are we basing your value in? It's crazy how many kids my age are going to college and getting their master's degrees now and doing all these things. And I'm kind of just doing the podcast where it goes back to what you said. What I'm doing, is that really matter? To some people out there, I think it definitely has gotten them through some moments. It might have caused some pain out there too. But am I happy with what I'm doing? Yeah. Am I considerate of what I'm doing? Try and be at least correctional as possible when you're talking conspiracy theories. But when you look at the value of what's my information and intelligence based through conversation, based on the information that someone got from a degree, I think the standards of the world need to start paying attention to the realist aspect, was it? And that is the aspect of what it taught you as a kid. And that is be what you want to be what makes you happy. Make sure
yeah,
that you're comfortable in your own skin, because I feel like a lot of people can't say that they are.
I can agree on that. I mean, even myself growing up, I wasn't happy with who I was inside behind closed doors. A lot of us weren't. We all have insecurities. But yeah, do what you love to do. Do what you have a passion to do. If you can be anything you want. You want to be a podcast host. You want to be a gamer on the gaming sites. You want to write books. You want to teach classes. Whatever you want to be, you can do that. My job wasn't available when I was a kid. So what I'm doing now, nobody ever fathomed it would be. Somebody's teaching infusion workshops with cannabis. Back when I was a teenager, that wasn't even imaginable.
You would have been arrested for even the thought.
Yeah. So I'm able to do a few of my passions and put them all together: cooking, cannabis, making people happy, motivating people, and teaching people.
What's a goal that you got lined up? You got to have
Uh,
something
I've
down
got
on the
a
books.
I've got a book coming out very soon, hopefully in a couple of weeks. So that's one goal that I'm about to reach. Um, we have been starting some give backs, so setting up places to do clothing donations and cooking food and feeding the homeless and things like that, community cleanup. So getting those started has been a big goal of mine, that's finally starting to get those first few steps in. Helping vets basically get the knowledge that they about cannabis, not just for smoking purposes, but for infusions, the medical benefits, and get them off a lot of those psychotropic drugs that are doing more harm than good. Not saying, cannabis is going to help every single person, because it won't. Everybody's different. But a lot of them, it'll definitely get them off of a lot of those psychotropic meds for PTSD and things. And the cannabis is a more healthy way to deal with that. I've seen both effects, good and bad, and just all the good things that I've heard from the veterans that I deal with on the transition is phenomenal.
Well,
Going from 30 pills to one plant.
they just need a recovery outlet, because the idea of a veteran for a lot of kids my age or younger is not a good idea. It's mostly a homeless person or someone going crazy on a bus, just because all the videos that it's been littered with the market. Those are the most attention seeking ones. And they're not
Yeah.
all like that. But
Oh, no, not at all.
I think that's also, maybe it's not just their PTSD, maybe it's also the effect of the drugs as well too. Because a lot of these things, if you check the ingredients that are in these pharmaceuticals, it's about getting ramped up to like a point of aggression at high levels. I mean, just eagerness, fatigue. You're tired. You might be acting a little bit crazier than you would be, And I start to realize, like, how many people in society have we just written off as like, oh, that's that people or those people? Maybe they're just like medicated on something that might have a symptom or something that we just don't understand
Yeah.
yet.
And the best thing on cannabis is those kind of side effects are pretty much null and void. you're not going to go into a blind rage because you smoked a joint. I don't think I've ever seen that in my life.
Unless you got like oregano in your weed or something, then you might lose your shit.
Well, I mean, if it's something spiked in it or something, that's a little different. But just regular cannabis, you're gonna go to sleep. You're gonna relax. You're gonna be happy. You're gonna eat. It'll calm you down. It might make you a little paranoid depending on the strains and the way it works with you, but it's
What
not going to be so intense.
what's the difference? I'm trying to look up what's the difference between weed and hash, because I think I might have been smoking hash all the times I thought I was smoking weed.
Weed would be the flower of the plant. Hash would be the collected trichomes compressed together.
So what's the different side effects of it? Why does every time I talk about a high story, everyone's like, did you try mushrooms? I was like, it wasn't mushrooms. It was, I think it might have been hash.
Well, hash averages around 50 to 60% cannabinoid content, whereas your average flower is about 20%. So the intensity of the high would be a lot more, about
like taking a
2.5 times, pretty much.
Jeez.
Dabs would be a little bit higher up on that scale, 70 to 90% cannabinoids. But if you've never really smoked much before, smoking hash would definitely get you ripped beyond belief.
So I can just relate to something. Can you give me a too high experience? Do you ever have one where you got super, super uber high?
So I made some infused, what was it? It was some infused cheesy broccoli noodles. This was when I was like 20, in my early 20s. And I got so high that I actually got nauseous. I started sweating and ended up puking.
Yeah, that happens a lot to me when I always got high.
So that was probably, or, the room will spin a little bit. You'll get that kind of drunk high, as they call it, because everything's spinning. You're just nauseous. You're just not feeling good. So I've had a couple of those experiences where I've been way too blasted on it.
At least I'm not like a psychopath. I'm not the only one experiencing that. Jesus Christ.
Oh no.
Half the time you feel like you're in a dimension that doesn't exist. I was like, if anybody put my brain on a Family Guy episode, I can make you 15 seasons right fucking now, because I'm losing my shit inside. But then on the outside, you're like trying to talk and you can't remember what words to say.
If that ever happens, my advice to anybody, have a high dose of CBD tincture. Take a high dose of straight CBD, and it'll help level you out. You will go from out of control high to pretty much back to reality within 15 to 30 minutes.
Does it ever amaze you what your brain can think of when you're on it? Does that just lead you into deeper capabilities of what probably the brain holds? Because I've been questioning more about my like existence, but also the brain as well too. I think that it's more powerful. Like your dreams are linked to like the afterlife. I'm like, so does that mean your dreams, like you can somehow reach that level of consciousness? So how can you get to that level, and can you create, or can I get superpowers? That's all I want to know. Can I fucking manipulate time around me?
I have always wondered that. I've always wondered how far you could push your brain. I read somewhere years and years ago that anything they make in a movie has already been done 10 years prior to that movie coming out. I don't know about like science fiction and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But artillery and things like that, they won't show it once it first comes out, but 10 years down the road, they'll put it in a movie.
Men Who Stare at Goats with George Clooney. That was based on a real government project called Operation Jedi, which was creating psychological warriors in our military, where they would drug them with LSD. It actually got to a point where a dude started firing a live gun in the middle of the training campus, then ended up shooting himself in the head. There's a bad reaction to LSD, but they do psychological tests. They're actually starting to talk about revamping that up in other countries, just because there might be capabilities to the human mind where they understand other dimensions now, man. There's people that think on a different wavelength, a different frequency. Why, when I think of you, you can think of me, then you send me a text like, hey, how's it going, man? Hope you're doing well. I was just thinking about you. There's no coincidence like that. That's a type of synchronicity, man. That's something with our brains that have some type of like internal messaging or coding in it.
Getting in tune with your actual body and knowing the way it reacts to different vibes, different situations and things, trusting, as they say, your gut instinct. If you get that, oh, this is not going to be a good scenario, get yourself out of the scenario. If that thought even crosses your mind, just leave. Because 9 times out of 10, when you think of all the bad scenarios you put yourself through, how many times did you think about, did that thought, oh, I shouldn't be here, I shouldn't be doing this, but you still kept going, even if it was just for a split second? How many times in those bad scenarios, right before it happened, did you think to yourself, oh, I should not be here? You got a bad gut feeling or whatever. And then all of a sudden, boom.
Well, it leads into my theory about like there seems to be a piece that's missing of us. And I think throughout history, if you look at any type of history, there's always been talks of psychedelics, religion, and then like kind of governmental kind of things. The two things that still have remained are religion and the government, but psychedelics is just wiped off, where now it's getting a second look at again, where everyone's like talking about bringing it back and making it more. It was known throughout our history to explore those types of realms. So maybe
Oh yeah.
maybe pot not really makes you more alert, but awakens those primal instincts where it's like your sense of like you're in a bad situation, time to get out. It awakens those primal kind of senses and kind of really recognition that kind of get numb based on the society that we live in now. It's so comfortable to survive. You don't need to worry about someone trying to kill you. Maybe in some places or some cities, sure, but not on an essence of like a giant woolly mammoth is going to come and spear you or a saber-tooth tiger is going to kill you. No, because you can easily go to the grocery store and get food. And most of the time, people just worry about what they're going to watch next on Netflix.
Yeah. I hear you on that one. Very true. Everybody's just concerned about watching TV and who's doing what in society. They're not really, a lot of people I've noticed are more into the drama aspect than worrying about what am I doing? What can I advance in? What can I learn? What can I transition into?
I think we're all at fault at some points to reflecting or
Oh yeah.
blaming something else for the way our lives have turned out. But I try my best to recognize when I do it. Like I know the government probably keeps you a lot from who you're supposed to be, but I can't blame them. I can laugh at it. I can let it not anger me, but my decisions that I make in my life have to also be my own as well too. And the viable options that
Right.
I have might get skewed smaller or might be littler. But the best thing that I can do is just try and be the person that I feel like I'm supposed to be inside, much like how you try and be who you are. Anything that is what you talk about or what you do is authentically you, because that's your brand. That's who you are. And the best part about being under your brand is that you created it. So it's a piece of you. It's not Coca-Cola. It's not Pepsi. It's not some type of company that just gives you a name tag that says, hello, my name is Pepsi or Coke, which they do. They don't
Oh yeah.
identify you as a fucking name. You're Chef Turtle. You're Neil.
I'm no different than I am on social media, in person, at the events. If you hang out with me at just a friend get together, I'm the same person as I am at a cannabis event or a car show event that I'm working, or on live TV, on a live video, or on my YouTube stuff. Some are a little more happy-go-lucky than others. But at the end of the day, I don't want to be in pretend to be something I'm not. I it would be a lie. It would be a facade. So why not be the easiest thing and be me? Nobody else can be me. So
Well, it's like the same thing I do with my show. If I tried to ask you the question is that if you ended up having a terrible accident, God forbid, but they ended up trying to make a clone of you, if they could pull your content from online, all of your content, would it come back with the same person your mother or someone in your family could recognize?
no,
What?
because it wouldn't have. And you're talking about just the content from all the internet stuff, pulling all that.
All your live videos, all that.
Yeah, you wouldn't. It wouldn't have the same personality because it wouldn't have all of my past history, all of that knowledge, all those memories, the good, the bad, and the ugly, to give it that full personality.
Okay. I was thinking it would be able to replicate you in that moment of how you feel at whatever time you speak. Talk about the things that you normally talk about that would be recognizable to who you are as
If
a person.
if you would talk about replicating the exact concept that you would see online and all that stuff, just all the happiness, it probably could.
Do you ever feel like
But
you have to be yourself more Like, even if you're having a bad day when you do a live video, do you ever just try and let people know your energy's a little bit different?
Actually, on some of them, if I'm having a rough day, I'll even let them know that I'm doing this because I want to start my day off right, and it's been rough. And I get a lot of interaction with people. Most of the time, half the people on there will be like, "I just joined because I was having a rough morning too, and I wanted some smiles
Yeah.
or something."
It's a great
So
there's a
I
great
love it.
video of a person holding a sign, and it says, "If you're having a rough day, give me a hug." And he has his eyes blindfolded so he can't see. So many people walk up and just hug him, and he's like, "You having a rough day?" And they're like, "Yeah, my grandma just died, or this person just died." And he's like, "I'm so sorry." And they hold the hug a little bit longer. And I'm like, that's the shit that I like to see, because as much as people talk about doing the things that they're supposed to be doing to be a good person, when you actually see it, it's a different feeling, man.
Oh yeah, that's one of the reasons I started doing my lives. It made me happier on my bad days if I woke up wrong or just anxious or something. I started noticing a lot of people would be tuning in when they were having a rough day, just so they could transition into a happier day. Um, so that makes me smile right there.
Think you when we talk about the question of like, are you doing a difference, are you making a difference, or are you affecting the world, or in a way, you notice you do that with the live videos, right? Even if it's affecting a person out there, you're changing the vibration because you're somehow getting energized, much like a conversation's an energetic kind of transformation of energy.
Yeah.
That's the craziest thing, dude, where I start to wonder, like, what is that? Like, what is that if we could put that into a pill? What is that pill? What is that energy, that frequency, that vibe that we all get on to the same level?
I don't, it's just energy passes through everything, good, bad, and ugly. And if you put out good, you receive good. If you put out bad, you receive bad. If you throw it on the internet, it comes out like 100-fold at you. So if you ever notice, if you do just like a negative rant on social media, and then all of a sudden you're getting hit with all these different bad situations that are pissing you off in every area, it goes hand in hand.
I feel like if you definitely sit and wallow in shit expecting it to change, it definitely doesn't change. It's about making that move out of that thing. But as pessimistic as I might sound at times, I'm definitely the most optimistic. But I just think I question the realistic aspect of things. I think the idea that there's supposed to be this level of normal that we all have to kind of agree to. What's fucking normal, man? Like, I
What's
just don't.
normal for you is not normal for me.
Exactly. That there is really no normal. This idea of the new normal. I'm like, there was never a fucking normal in the first place, man. Every
Nope.
single place is different. Every single lifestyle is different. Everybody is different. So that means we should have rules with to kind of understand that. I think there needs to be more understanding. They open the third eye. I hate to be that guy, but geez, if that ain't true.
Okay. Yeah, I get that. What is it? A friend of mine a while back told me, there's no bad people, they just make dumb choices. They don't think about the way it's affecting others. So somebody cuts you off, they're not processing how it's going to affect who they cut off. They're just trying to get somewhere really quick. So they're more focused on themselves than how it's affecting everybody around them.
Yeah, you get like in an isolated bubble at times. You just gotta be careful though, because sometimes I'm like I kind of trick myself to do the bad thing. Like, I'm like, what is speeding breaking the law? The laws are the laws that the government created, not things that we all just agree that it's okay. It's not even a rule. And then I start speeding. I'm like, hold on a second. This is how you get a fucking ticket. That's like a $200 fine, man.
Yeah, you don't need to be getting fined for that. Quit speeding.
But I,
I,
I I think the way that you perceive things, much like the way that you can hear something or say something, I think people funnel it through the way that they want to funnel it. And I necessarily don't think that's the way that the person might have intended it. Like, assumptions, man, they are
oh
the
yeah.
trickiest road to walk down. I see people do it all the time, man. It's the craziest thing.
Well, even like when somebody gives somebody else criticism, like they're just trying to help them out, whether it's good or bad manner. But most people take criticism with emotion. So it gets turned, like you said, perception of how they're interpreting it. If you play into your emotion while you're getting criticized, of course, you're going to go on to the defensive aspect. If you take that emotion out, you're able to go, okay, that's my fault. How do I fix where I'm failing? How do I fix where I'm not doing so well?
Do you think people get scared or get nervous or get controlling to other people, not only because they might be upset with themselves, but maybe a concept of they're afraid that that person might be stopping them from being who they need or want to be?
So,
Because I'm noticing it a lot, like a
what
lot of people policing other people. And I'm like, that comes from either a fear aspect or people looking at like,
self projection aspects. So they're mad about something in their life and they're just projecting it on somebody else.
maybe.
The control of power.
Yeah, a lot of people love
Um,
that fucking fear narrative, man.
it's just, well, not even just that an aspect of a fear narrative, but let's say I'm really mad about what I'm doing in my life, but I'm doing nothing to change it. So instead of doing that, I'm going to get mad at this person for something that they're doing. But in reality, I'm mad at myself and I'm just projecting it onto them, giving that anger to them.
Or seeing someone without a mask and thinking that you're going to die because that person doesn't have a mask on. That happens so much, dude. I can look at it like this is fucking nuts, man. Like, just fucking stay away from me then. Don't talk to me. I don't care.
There's so many of those videos. It's people are looking to argue. That's the bottom line. A lot of those videos, people just that's what they want to do. They want to argue. So they go into the stores just to find that person, just to have that argument.
Yeah, that's
I don't
creepy to me, man. That's
I
just like
can't comprehend that.
that's someone who's retired who just needs another job or something. Like that just gets it mind boggles me because I see it a lot, especially at my work. I work at a gym. There's people that just come in wanting to call the cops to have it shut down just because we're not and like nobody's wearing masks. Any business is not requiring it anymore, but they're like, there's a new variant. You're gonna and I'm like, this is the media, man. The media has put you in a position where you're not really living your life anymore. And I don't want to blame things like I was saying before, but man, if it ain't damn true, dude, there's a lot of times that media has really stigmatized a lot of things in this world. And I think it's causing us to be in this chaos of like, I don't think people know who they are, not necessarily know who you are, Neil, but know
No,
who
but yeah.
what our roots are. I think someone's keeping that information from us. There was a whole race of giants that are nobody talks about. How did they go away? Researchers, paleontologists don't know. They just find bones of giants. Did we kill them off? Why are they keeping that from us? I have no clue. Did dragons exist? I've heard people say they might be comets.
I've heard a lot of conspiracy theories. I've dove down a few different rabbit holes just because it's interesting to me.
Give me one. Give
Um,
me one.
I don't know if it's an angel society or whatever, but inside the earth. A pilot, I don't remember when it was, back in the 1800s or 1700, not couldn't be seven, but way back when, flew his plane into the center of the earth through the North Pole.
Is this
And
Journey to the Center of the Earth with Brendan Fraser?
no. There's
Okay.
he actually his journal still exists. So they in the documentary they read from his journal of the things he saw down there, the people he saw, how it transitioned from he was flying upside down to right side up once he entered it, and just weird things.
That's a that's a good one.
But it was way back when, I don't remember, probably what was it? I don't remember the date. Um, but yeah, that was a look up. Man travels to the center of the earth by plane through North Pole or something like that.
Hold on a second. I gotta look this shit up. I've
Um,
never heard this one before. I immediately think Brendan Fraser because I'm pretty sure that was the and they find the guy's journal in the center of the earth too.
that's funny, but no. This is fucking some crazy shit. When I watched that, there's supposed to be a sun in the center of the earth as well.
The core?
Yeah, it's supposed to be a sun that lights up everything and all that. Like it goes into some crazy stuff. But for me, it was just like it was very interesting, and the documentary aspect was really well done and kept my attention because of the cool pictures and stuff that it would show.
The I think the only conspiracy that we're gonna get probably I guess heard of is going to be the UFO thing with the Bill Nelson thinking that our origins come from Mars. And it's like, what?
Okay, I've heard that. I'm just if there is, which I think there's life all around outside of this galaxy, this planet, and space, all that. I'm just curious if I'm gonna be around to see any of anything like that or witness it,
So
or if it's all going to be theoretic.
according to their
Let's see.
claims, polar explorer Richard E. Byrd and co-pilot Floyd Bennett fly over the North Pole on this day in the Josephine Ford, a triple-engine Fokker monoplane. It would have been the first time an aircraft flew over the top of the world. The pair had taken off from Spitsbergen, Norway, and reportedly covered the 1,545-mile trip to the pole and back in 15 hours and 30 minutes. The discovery in 1996 of the diary that Byrd had kept on his famous flight seemed to suggest that he and Bennett may have turned back 150 miles short of the north or short of the pole because of an oil leak. If so, Italian adventurer Umberto Noble, American Lincoln Ellsworth, a Norwegian explorer who was in the 1911 the first person to reach the South Pole by land, would receive credit for the airship flight. In the polar exploration in 1929, he made his undisputed first aircraft flight over the South Pole. But where does it say that? Oh, so they're saying that he cut the trip in half by flying through the center of from the North Pole to the South.
Mhm.
That's
There's a few
nuts.
different I won't say documentaries, I shouldn't be saying that, but conspiracy theory videos on YouTube if you look up that exact stuff. And there's one, I think it's like 45 minutes long. 35 or 45 minutes long. It's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Makes you question a lot of things because of that journal.
I also question the space race as well. So I don't think we landed on the moon when that video was taken. I think we landed there later. I just think it was an idea of what happens when people get into a competition is they just start to lie, man. They'll do anything to win. You see that with court cases. People will literally blindly not look at evidence. I mean, that's why OJ's out. People just didn't want to believe anything. They didn't care. The glove didn't fit. You must have quit. They'll do anything they possibly can to deny the facts only because it doesn't represent their side. And people do that now. That's what's crazy is that the amount of lying that goes out there, whether it's politics or government. I mean, the Ghislaine Maxwell trial is the one thing that's not being broadcasted and supposed to be lasting 6 weeks. That was the person that worked with Epstein. They're not talking about that at all, and they won't talk about it. And that's the scariest thing is that if you have enough money, if you have enough power, you can easily blind the facts from the public. And that's what gets me like insane. I think that's about that one that you just told me is probably up there with the Titanic conspiracy. Was that the Titanic actually was another ship? They replaced the name of it with the Olympia. But I talked to an underwater archaeologist who said that was BS. So,
well, he's like, that's BS. I've seen that one too, and the insurance scam aspect of it. We're gonna crash it, take the money, but still have it.
But I heard a story about like people even say that there was no iceberg. But I heard a guy who survived from like falling off of the actual ship. Someone came back and saved his life if he was floating in the water. And he was like, there was 100% an iceberg. Like, that was 100% there. But, you know, it's so crazy because with time, it gets worse and worse and worse. And it ends up being like 9/11 or JFK, where you still don't have the answers now. I mean, to think that this whole COVID pandemic isn't going to be a conspiracy down the road. I mean, whether it's a profitable thing or whether it's the most profitable pandemic ever, but why did the Omicron take out the stock market? I have no fucking clue. Like,
there's so many questions of what if, what's going to happen, what's going to be the result of all these different scenarios down the line, and is the truth going to ever come out? In our time, at least, because down the road, the truth of anything will always come out. It'll always reach the surface, just like the sun and the moon. It will always come around. It just, the question is when. I'm more interested in the pyramid aspect.
What about the pyramids?
That they were used as free electricity for the entire, like the global aspects. That's why they're all positioned in different areas.
God damn it. I was about to be like, what is it built by aliens? I was like, I've asked Egyptologists. They all say no. They were placed like people think that the pyramids were all built at the same time. They were so far apart, like hundreds and hundreds of years apart. People built them separately and it took them a very long time. And then actually people, if you look at the pyramids, a lot of like the pictures you see, if you get really up close to it, because they're such large scale, people don't realize how big they are. When you get up close to it, there's pieces of them missing because people took other pieces of pyramids to work on their pyramid. And it was like pieces being taken and scavenged from different pyramids to pyramid to pyramid. But they were weirdly aligned with the constellations and ancient Egypt. And I think, I don't want to get this wrong, but there's another civilization out there that were the biggest answers to why the dark or the phantom time hypothesis is wrong and it doesn't make sense. So the phantom time hypothesis is that the king that was ruling in 783 AD, he wanted to rule in the new millennia. So the theory is that he got with the Pope, and the Pope at this point, religion had such giant influence. Any word he spoke, people thought he was a god, that they falsified 300 years of dark history, which is the Dark Ages, King Arthur and all that, never existed. They think that they lied and told a story to everyone to speed up the clock, because time is just a construct of man. We all agree it's 2021, but if that phantom time hypothesis is real, that means we're in 17 something. So it's not really 2021 at all. And the star mapping was how they were able to prove that that's the biggest conflict with that conspiracy theory, is because they found star maps from 790 something that prove that this was this time period. So even if you boosted the clock, it would show that time span of a boost. Like, why are these people in 2021 and these people over here in 17? That's why we look at the Middle East and think they're so in the past, is they're living at the right time. We're thinking we're 300 years ahead. It gets crazy, dude.
Yeah, you go in depth and you just get, where am I at?
You got to take another hit and fucking walk back in. Like, let me contemplate this a little bit more.
I gotta stop watching this, but I love expanding my mind. I love learning new things for myself. I have a lot of it self-taught.
I just wish someone was on TV. Like, I don't know, maybe, like, just give me the fucking maybe. Like, I just want to hear that. So I'm always like, okay. Like, if I was a kid and there was a conspiracy show, dude, we all had that crazy grandpa or uncle that just rattled off about like Trump or something like that, or politics or some random bullshit that, you know, when you get a call from them, you're like, Jesus Christ, like, I got to block them from my Facebook or something. But they were important because they gave you like some advice. You're like, what? It's like, don't you notice that every lawn person has a bag on the back of their lawnmower? You know why that is because they don't tell you that when the dead grass goes back onto the alive grass, it actually feeds back into the soil and creates even greener grass. And you're like, he's not wrong, because if you check, every lawnmower has a bag on the back of it, but I don't know about the rest of the shit he was talking about. Like, it's just a random thing, but they say something like that. You're like over there, like, what? Like Alex Jones, biggest conspiracy person, they call him out there. He's gotten everything right. He said that the frogs were gay. Turns out there's a certain type of chemical pesticide they're spraying on crops, makes frogs lose their genitalia and actually switch their genitalia. Essentially, exactly what he said, just not as crazy. Then his recent claim was that there were giant satellites in the sky, like Jewish stars. And they just put up a new video of one of these satellites in the sky. It opened up exactly like a Jewish star. Like, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, what is happening right now? I don't know.
There's a lot of good questions out there. There's a lot of things that'll make your mind go, what the heck is going on?
It makes it more fun.
I agree. I definitely agree on that, because there's a lot of different concepts that you just like, I got to get to the bottom of this. There is no bottom to this.
There is no ending to this barrel. It dives you into insanity. But if you could pick one thing that you could find the answer to, what would it be?
What's in the Mariana Trench?
The bloop.
I want to, like, the oceans. What's at the bottom of all the oceans?
I'm probably the biggest proponent of that too. I don't care about space that much. I care more about the oceans, because I think there's probably an ancient, I mean, they just found a scorpion the size of a car seat, like an actual car, like driver seat. They found one of those down there. It's over 500 million years old. They thought was extinct. And I'm like, dude, there's got to be more shit like that down there that we got to find out.
Like, don't get me wrong, I would love to explore space and see if the multiverse universe theory is true, or, you know, all the different planets and all of that. But right now, I want to know what's here as well. I want to know what's all over the ocean, sea life, aquatic, everything. I want to travel, see all the forests, different. I want to know.
What about the idea? Imagine if it was flipped around, instead of 90 or 70% of the world being filled with water, the water is where we live. So that means only 30 of the planet would be a place we can't explore, which would be land.
That would be very interesting.
There wouldn't be an overpopulation problem like we have now. Because right now we're only using 30% of land that people can live on and inhabit. We can't live underwater. So if you flip those numbers, 70% instead of being uninhabitable, now being habitable, and 30% only being inhabitable, you'd have way more space. People would be fucking like rabbits, man. You could breed as much as you want. You don't have to limit anything. But the scary part is like traveling would be a bitch. Trying to travel from like here to like Vegas or the East Coast to West Coast is like a 12-hour flight. But fucking imagine if the world is expanded even more than that. Oh my God.
Well, I don't know if Vegas would exist at that point underwater, but there'd be some concept of gambling. But if you weren't traveling through flight, you'd be traveling through like supersonic railways aspects that would just be shooting you back and forth. Or maybe the Futurama aspect, the tube theory. Bloop, bloop.
Yeah, until you crush into some people get stuck in water slides. You think that's not going to happen with tubes?
Probably, but
It'd be good if you were like running into like I don't know, like a hot girl in front of you that slam right into that ass. But then at the same time, if you got like some dude that just gets stuck in a tunnel because he doesn't care about getting the double tunnel, he wants to take the single tunnel because he's afraid that he's gone up in pant size and doesn't want to admit it to himself. Then you're hitting that guy in the head. Now you both got concussions and you're in the hospital, probably in a coma for a year. You got to think these through, Neil.
I don't know how that would work.
I just picture a board meeting with all these people tossing out ideas like, hey guys, what's a good idea or invention we can do? How about a spatula that sings to you? What? A Bluetooth spatula. You're in the kitchen, you're cooking stuff up, you get bored, you can't find your radio. Bluetooth spatula. That is a dumb fucking idea. And then one dude's like, what about a shower speaker? You're in your shower, it plays music, and it's a waterproof speaker. That dude's a fucking genius. How many people sing in the shower but have their phone using their speaker in the sink so it's louder? You're a genius, Johnny. Thank you. Next, we'll put Netflix in your shower so you'll never have to get out and you'll always be wet. That's how that shit goes, son.
Yeah, I hear that.
Sharknado was just a board meeting on cocaine. People,
okay. How many different movies of Sharknado are there?
There's got to be like 12. There's got to be 12. And Tara Reid is in every one of them.
I don't think I've seen any of them all the way through. I think I've seen maybe 30 minutes of one or two of them.
I saw the best of one, I think, where the guy had a chainsaw and a shark flew at him and he sliced it in half as it went through him. And I was like, all right, that's bullshit. I bet you that shark weighs probably close to a damn ton. And there's no way your fucking 150-pound ass with a chainsaw is going to saw that bitch through. Like, it makes you question more.
I don't know. Hey, if that shark's just flying really fast enough, and that chain is going fast enough, it's gonna just hit and split.
It's the reason I won't go into water parks anymore. And I used to work at one was after I saw Piranha, where they were infused into the water park. I was like, nope, don't even need to worry about that shit, man. Piranhas in the water park lines, and you're swimming in the water, and piranhas are just eating people.
That would be intense.
Trying to say these movies sounds like someone on like acid trying to describe shit. Like, this will be a good movie pitch. All right, I'm going to pitch you a movie. Ready? A guy wearing a mask that doesn't say anything, never dies, might be a demon, but you play this ominous musical piano beat behind it, and then he just goes around killing people, mostly his own family members. You're like, that sounds like a dumb movie. Really? Because it's the Halloween series. I wish
so many.
I wish they had a movie. Not even a movie. I guess a show that would just be in the basis of people's dreams. Like, give me one of your dreams, Neil. You got to have a dream that sticks into your head that you always think about.
And in one of my dreams, I fought off like some crazy samurais with knives and swords for hands and fingers.
So you got the Ninja Turtle infusion with Wolverine.
I don't know.
Did you die in it?
I didn't have those. They had the knives on there. I just had regular hands.
Like Splinter. Did
Like it was no, I didn't die in it. I ended up in a barn and then I woke up.
what does the barn symbolize?
I have no clue. I was on a farmland. They came, I fought, and then I woke up in a barn and then I woke up. Like,
It's the quickest synopsis I've ever heard of a dream. I find that there's a lot of dreams. I feel like I've had a couple where I've died in them, and people are like, "That's not good," and I'm like, "I don't know what that is." Like I remember I lived my whole entire life, had a family and kids and everything. Then I remember opening up a door, and then as soon as I opened up the door, I saw like feet, and then I saw a bright white light, and I died. And I'm like, I guess that was someone shooting me in the head. Like that was my synopsis of understanding that.
Alvin the chipmunk tried to smother me and I woke up.
Wait, go back to that one. What do you mean? Why is the
I was
chipmunk
like,
smuggling you?
I don't know.
Did you shit on their
I
Christmas
was like
album?
9 or 10 years old, but I just remember at the end of the dream, Alvin the chipmunk, and he threw a pillow over my head and he was
It was
smothering me. And
big enough for the pillow.
I woke up, my face was in the pillow and I couldn't breathe.
Jesus. What did you say? Why did you just come out of nowhere? Or did you
I don't
insult
remember
them?
any part of that dream other than
Okay.
that part right there. Like, it was weird.
Oh my, what do you think that symbolized?
I don't know. I didn't harm any animals. I don't know
Yeah,
why a
I've
chipmunk
been
was
nice
trying to
to
kill me.
chipmunks ever since, but I've never seen another Christmas special.
Some crazy shit.
I think those are like I like having dreams, but sometimes you pull something out of your dreams. Like I had a dream where I was sitting on a couch and there was just a staticky channel, and I would keep flipping through the channels, flipping through, and a voice would say, I would like I had the remote, I threw it on the couch, and I was like, "There's nothing to watch," and he goes, "You could have everything and still want more," and I'm just like, "What?" And then it goes, "I give you any channel you could possibly want, but are you ever satisfied?" And it's just like a deep booming voice, like you felt it in your ribs. And I was just like, God? And then it's like, I've gone by many names. And I'm like, oh my, like, I can't say, oh my, you know what I mean? So it's like this thought of like, holy shit, is this God that I'm speaking to? Then I woke up. But I've had like 4 religious dreams like that, and I'm not religious. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because I've been talking to a lot of cult people. I probably. Um,
Yeah, you
but
have a lot of different people on your show from every angle.
try and give you a variety. I don't know what else people want from me. Do they want I could talk to Jesus, do an afterlife special?
You can do all kinds of things.
I don't think I
You
could
could make
memorize
up a
Jesus.
little one.
I
You can
wish I
make up
could
a comedy
animate,
skit
dude.
about it.
That's what I want is to animate shit. I wish I had the ability to animate it because I would get your dream of you getting choked by Alvin and the chipmunk and just animate it like a small little kid on his bed and a chipmunk just comes up and tries to murder him. I thought it would be Theodore out of anybody. He looks like a fucking pent up piece of shit. You know what I mean? No offense to him, but I don't trust anybody with glasses and a blue sweater. That's fucking nuts.
Oh, okay. That's great.
Well, Chef Turtle, what is your plan for the rest of the day?
Uh, Today, I don't know. Tomorrow, I will be scouting out a bunch of different areas for our next give back and community cleanup. So that's tomorrow. Today, I don't really have much. This was my main plan today, hanging out with a good buddy and just chit chatting.
And what's a positive message for someone out there listening?
Don't let the rough times in life get you down. Just keep your head up and keep moving forward. Even if you're making the smallest steps, it's still a step forward.
It's really good. I'm very happy I've known you for, I think it's almost been 2 years we've been talking
Yeah,
back and
just
forth.
about
Yeah.
April-ish, April, May or something like that. It'll be about 2 years. So
I need a Chef Turtle shirt.
I think I actually have one in there. If I don't, I'll get you one on the next order for sure. I gotta mail one out to you.
rep it on my show.
I would have mailed you one of these hoodies, but they came out like crud. The quality of hoodie is good, just the custom work wasn't the best.
That looks pretty comfy.
Oh, it is. It's definitely comfortable.
Oh,
there that goes.
Neil. Shit happens.
The sun hit the sticker, the sticky part.
But Neil, I appreciate getting to know you, man. It's been an awesome journey, and I look forward to seeing how your business really grows and everything too. Watching your brand from when it was just a small little poster in your kitchen, and you had the weed bandana to where it's at now, where you got a bunch of merch. You're doing merch, market meeting stuff as well too, and then also giving back to the community, which is it's not out of the realm of your character, which I appreciate.
I've been doing that my whole life. My family loves to tell this. My mom especially loves to tell the story. On my 16th birthday, the only thing I wanted was to take all the money that I got for my birthday and just go to one of the areas that the homeless were at and buy them all food with it.
That's beautiful.
And that was me at 16. So
now you're making the food for
my nature. Yep, pretty much. Figuring ways out to help everybody. There's enough for everybody to have a little piece of it, just keep growing, keep moving.
Can I get a second helping of mac and cheese? No, because that first one had a lot of pot in it. You're like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but you can go in that line because that's the unmedicated line down there.
There you go. You got options.
always. You have to have one and the other.
Well, Neil, I appreciate you doing the podcast. I'll make sure I link all your links in the description. Chef Turtle, for everyone out there watching, keep it cool, keep it frosty, and top it off with a little Hershey's Kiss.
Right.
I'm thinking chocolate cake because your last video that you said you're recording.
Oh, the what is it? The infused chocolate sweet cakes.
Damn.
And we just dropped infused cheese dip last Friday.
It's the more you eat, the higher you get. The higher you get, the more you eat. It's a fucking double entendre.
Right. I mean, we got everything from meats, drinks, sweets, and treats.
Boom. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Stay tuned for another episode of Out of the Blank. Stay tuned.